This podcast is sponsored by Royalty Roofing and Siding. Crown your home and your commercial property and then wrap it with royalty. Today we got a guest on the podcast. His name is Dustin from Paradise Painting. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I guess let's do it.
Ready or not, here we
No,
go.
no.
Yeah, so you're the owner and operator of Paradise Painting. Been working with royalty for years.
Yeah, a few years. So I started with some of your sales reps and just kind of keeps going up from there. So
I ran into you on a few job sites, had some good dialogue, wanted to bring you on the podcast. So thanks first for being here. Thanks for taking the time, a little bit longer time than we wanted. We had some technical difficulties, but we're working our way through it. So let's play on the spot.
on the spot.
Talk a little bit about you're a podcast guy. Is that right?
You watch the podcast.
Let's go podcast or book. What's your preference?
Podcast.
What kind of podcast we talking? Business?
You know, I think a lot of it, I like to get into some comedy, business, entrepreneur stuff, communication skills, anything that can really just add to your lifestyle. Yeah, anything that's going to enhance you.
So while we're on the spot, let's talk a little bit about, you more of a beach guy or a mountain guy?
I don't know. Are you trying to get me to take a long walk on the beach? Or...
I don't know. What's your preference?
You know, a little bit of both.
Okay.
Sometimes you need to go in the mountains. And, yeah, sometimes you need to read a book on the beach.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the trip you just took, if you don't mind? You take a winter break.
I'm terrified to start, so I only go so deep. Yeah, I take a little bit of a winter break. You know, I like to work my kind of heavier hours and then sometime and take advantage of it. I'll say a lot of other guys maybe fail to do so, and they pay for it in the winter.
They burn out.
Yeah, so it's, and you really got to advocate your time and take advantage of that when it's there. So, especially with a lot of exterior companies, it's resourceful. If they're feeding you, you better take advantage of it.
Yeah, you got to cook while the stove's hot.
Especially, so I probably go about mid-December, even once Thanksgiving hits, things really slow down. But I try to have my goal be, I don't want to be in the Midwest, January, February for sure.
Because you don't do interior painting.
I do a lot of it.
Oh, you do?
But I try not to, because just scheduling, trying to get someone's home, working around furniture. The stuff I do, it's going to be home flips or builder stuff. But I really like being outside. So, and I think that's just where my mindset goes. To then take it, work so much in the summer and, stack your eggs, whatever you want to call it, your cheese. That's nuts. This year I was able to kind of work for it, kind of did some hustling on the side and bartered and flipped a few cars, ended up with a really nice camper.
Flipped some cars?
Yeah, flipped some cars.
I've heard of flipping houses and flipping burgers, but I've never heard of flipping cars.
No? I mean, I just barter and trade.
What'd you flip?
I don't care if I got to start with a stereo system. I'll work my way up. That's usually... Had a few, so kind of buy and sell some with cash. I had like an SS Trailblazer, did some cash deals, added for some other deals, and like Land Rover, and then kind of did this camper to kind of wrap it up. Yeah, I took off, kind of hit a few spots in Arizona.
Did you take the camper that you flipped?
Yeah,
you did. Okay,
yeah, so and that actually, the guy I got it from, he got it salvaged because it was an insurance auction. He threw a fender on it. It still needed some work. But like a challenge, so I threw a bunch of tools in it. Okay. I figured I'll fix some of these panels and maybe some of the wiring on the road. So when I left, it didn't have any electricity and it was going off the generator, propane, nothing. It's like, probably second stop or 3 days into it, I had it all pretty much going up or something. But yeah, I went up in the mountains up in Arizona and then just kind of drove all the way across through Texas. And
a lot of driving.
Yeah. Probably more driving than...
How many miles?
6,000 or so.
That's plenty. By yourself?
Yeah.
Nobody with you?
No.
All right, because this leads me to one of my questions.
I got my dog.
Okay,
that's good enough. I'm good at resourcing and meeting people on the way, so I think that's part of it.
What do you do while you're driving?
It's music. I think that's my therapy.
Okay.
Because
this flows into my next question. Is, what do you do while you're painting? What are you thinking about?
I think you better learn how to get in a flow state, I guess.
A zen?
Yeah, a zen. You better really like yourself. Maybe that's why most painters have substance abuse problems.
Is that what it is? Okay. You're talking to yourself?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, it's...
Because it can be monotonous.
That's why I like the podcast.
Okay.
Audiobooks.
Yes.
Because you put those in. But a lot of times you're talking to customers. If you're working with guys, you get a lot of sense of fulfillment out of working with guys.
Okay.
So I could resource more to doing the sales, advocating, growing on the business side. But then it also takes away from being on the site. Maybe I have a control issue.
Okay.
Quality control.
I get it.
So it's, I like to be on the job site. I like to make sure, because, regardless, half the time you're going back just to make sure stuff's fixed anyway.
Right.
And that's, you guys are, deal with your fair share of it.
Right. The project manager appreciates you being on the job site. The homeowner appreciates you being on the job site. I don't know if the contractor being on the job site, but nevertheless,
well, regardless, you got to be there.
You got to be there.
Yeah. Work's got to get done. So,
So you went to Arizona.
Mm. We went to,
Wow.
I was in New Orleans for a bit and just kind of stayed there over New Year's. So I had good dinner,
Okay.
Bourbon Street, fireworks. Then had kind of just started going down through Florida. I had to kind of redirect because Florida, it's very easy to keep going south.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it gets,
And it gets warmer as you go down.
yeah, I'm like, man, I've got so many miles already. I think I was ready. So
How far did you make it?
It's kind of Destin area.
Something
Yeah.
panhandle. They're getting ready to make that turn down.
I used to live in Fort Myers for a bit. You know, I've seen it all. I really wanted to go to Key West to begin with, but I have a feeling if I go down there, it's hard to come back up.
Oh, yeah. May not.
Especially you start looking at the weather and you're like, I mean, it's 80 and sunny here.
Okay.
You know, like hanging out with the iguanas better.
Oh, yeah. And it's 20 degrees here.
Yeah. The blizzard's coming. So we've been good on weather so far this year, though.
You got some pain days in as well.
Yeah. Here and there.
Is that atypical for winter?
I get, there's this concept that, and I get a lot of calls. We'll get a day that it hits 50 degrees.
Yeah.
And it'll be the high. And I'll probably get 6 calls. I'm like, can you squeeze me in? Can you do this? I'm like, what's the low today? You know, look at that. The day starts out 22 degrees. You really want me out there doing your job with them and have 2 hours to flush it. Just because it's,
right.
And if the sun's not out, those factors play in it. So I really just for about 3-4 months, just try to avoid doing anything outside because you have more issues than you do a success rate. You know, you have equipment in the van, it's going to freeze.
It's cold.
You know, you pay for material, it freezes, it's done, it's shot.
Right.
So, and then it doesn't cure right on a house. It might sweat. Okay. It doesn't, you know, I use all high quality products too.
Good.
What's the point if it don't dry right?
Right.
You know,
That makes sense.
You know, a lot of moisture still in the air. Sun's not out.
Things you don't think about unless you're a painter.
Well, or at least one that, you know, is always thinking of what can go wrong.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Know, or, you know, I've tried it all. I've sat here and fought it. You know, you get below 50 degrees, the sun's not out, your tape doesn't stick right.
Okay.
So just even prepping takes, you know, 4 times longer. So you might have 4 hours to work, but you might, you know, on a decent regular day in the summer, you're only getting hours worth of work done in comparison.
And so Dustin, then what? Nashville? I can't remember.
Yeah, I drove straight up, hit Nashville. Probably shouldn't talk too much about what happened there.
Okay, we'll leave what happened in Nashville. We'll leave that in Nashville.
Yeah, we'll leave that in Nashville.
Okay. We talked, what's the big street? Bourbon Street? Is it Bourbon Street?
I think it's just Broadway. It's Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then again, it's the camper got's pretty small, compact enough to fit in some parking spots. It's a squeeze, but you know, it's nice to be able to just go straight into it. You know, kind of squeeze it wherever you can squeeze it.
So you made your way back to Omaha.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's kind of no better feeling when you can go on for 2.5, 3 weeks
to be back,
pulling in your driveway, going and sleeping in a real bed.
So how did the flip come out? Did the camper perform well? I mean, did you get everything figured out?
Yeah, for the most part.
I came back better than it left.
Oh yeah, I did. So I'm gonna kind of do some decals and outside and stuff, but now, you know, I think I've had my fun with it, and we'll see what else we can trade it for. Oh,
that's how we're doing it. Literally flipping vehicles, huh?
I think it's in a nutshell. I can't explain it, but that's just kind of my hobby. I don't know. I think in business, where do you get your first sense? And I think for me, there's transitions from it. I'd say I classify myself as a hustler, you know, and that's, you know, and maybe people can relate to that in a lot of other fields. But at some point, what's the next step? Right. The transition to businessman. So, and I want to say last year was probably my big step down to 28.
How long have you been doing the Paradise?
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
How old are you?
28. So I've been doing it, I think since I'm 19, I started my LLC.
Okay.
Now, needless to say, I mean, I lived in my 20s, like my 20s.
Right.
So only probably with the last 3 years, I've really taken it seriously. I think it's very important to do other things while you're young and you know, see what you like.
School? Are we talking college? Are we talking education? We talking experiences?
Yeah.
About destinations? Talking about relationships?
You got a doctorate degree, so I don't, maybe I shouldn't speak my views on college.
Go ahead. No, I understand. My kids are saying the same thing.
Yeah. Well,
and they got degrees.
It's what you want out of life.
Right.
What are your values? And it's hard to get those early on and decide.
I don't even know what they are.
Right.
What you value, what you want out of your life.
That takes life experience.
Yeah.
And I think I need that early on. I think I had a lot of life experience early on that really trajected that to, you know, what are my values? And I think early on it was, I didn't see, unless you're going to go get a doctorate degree,
right?
Or you're going to do some law,
accounting, whatever.
I never want to work for somebody else. You know,
you knew that?
Yeah.
You knew you never worked for somebody else?
I think I've always outworked everybody. I've had jobs since 13.
Right.
And I've always outworked everybody around me.
Okay.
You know, and I've self-motivated myself and had that initiative that most people don't have.
Where'd that come from? Dad,
Um,
grandpa, mom.
Just trying not to be like everybody else I'm surrounded by.
Because I know you got these, you're talking about people you're surrounded by. I know you have this asset column and liability column as it relates to relationships.
It's easy to filter people out in your life if you have that
Clear line of delineation between an asset and a liability.
Well, you get attached to feelings. Oh, hey, this is my friend that I've had all growing up. But at what point are they such a negative impact and holding on to things in their life that don't add to your key points in yours? Are they baggage? Are they liability? So that's where I put it in an asset or in a financial sense. Because if you're going to go get a loan from a bank, that's exactly what they're going to do. What's your assets? What's your liabilities? But what are your bills? What are your expenses? What do you have available? And the more you're expensing to those people, you're just negatively impacting their life. And if you really have things you're working on and a purpose and that you're driving to, well, why give them any more of your time?
When did you figure this stuff out? After your 20s or after your early 20s?
Yeah.
After these last 3 or 4 years, or was it in there and then suddenly you just keep on layering this stuff and before you know it, you have?
And this is a good thing that I do with being by myself.
Right.
We surround ourselves with something that we don't really seek out that information, but it's all that self-growth information that you're seeking out. And it has just fully developed and layered up on top of stacked compound interest.
Yeah.
So it starts small. Say about 24 is my biggest turning point. Okay. So I kind of do a lot of partying. 21, 20.
Because you can paint hungover.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah.
Good answer.
But that's one thing when I think accountability became huge for me, because at that point, I think I started making excuses too. Okay. So I'd have, I'd be hungover. I tell the customer, you can get away with it with a customer because they only got to deal with you short. Yeah. With a boss, you can sit there and tell them an excuse. Right. Excuses are just piled amount of lies. Right. I had some kind of traumatic things or a close friend that died at that time. Okay. And I think that's when I really took a step back in my life. Okay. I stopped making the excuse. Okay. And I told him, at that point I was blowing out a lot and I was putting the job off because I was kind of suppressing something. Yeah. I said, at what point are you going to stop doing this? You said that to yourself? And then I went to that customer and I said, this is why I showed up. Oh, wow. And they were shocked. They were like, why would you tell me this? Right. But I told them for me, so I'd stop doing it. That day I've stopped. That was the end of it? Yeah. I think, for the most part, you don't want to lie you're lying to yourself. Right. When you feel comfortable lying to other people. Right. You can get away with that, to lying to other people, but you can't lie. You can only lie to yourself for so long. My thing is if I have somebody in my life who I can tell they're telling little white lies, they're definitely, who lies to yourself or who's ever lied to you the most in your life? Who's ever lied to me the most in my life? Good question. Most people don't realize it's yourself. Yeah. Lie to yourself. Yeah. So you set a schedule. I'm going to do this tomorrow. Oh, okay. Because if you don't, unconsciously you're lying to yourself because you're setting goals and deadlines that no problem. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do this. And I don't live up to those goals, expectations that I set for myself. Right. So now at that point, how can you respect yourself? Right. There's levels to that self-respect. It's underneath the iceberg of things you really don't think about or look at. Mm-hmm. But you start tweaking those little things underneath the surface. That's how you become better on the surface. Right. People can respect you more, and it comes out through your character. Right. So you said that switch flipped due to a trauma you experienced in your life. Yeah. And that was with the death of your friend? Yeah, a friend of mine committed suicide. So my best friends worked with me. Last time I saw him was on the job site. So I took a real hard step in my life back. And I think that's why I'm okay with working so much in the summer and then in the winter. I take the time to, isolate and do things for myself. Yeah. Because that's when that's my college. That's my education. Right. That's the time I take to improve myself. And then every year I come back better. Right. So I have better systems. And when you're trying to build a business, you're only going to build it as good as you build yourself. Especially if you're the business, like in your case. And if you are the product. I am the product. I'm the person that a customer is less satisfied when I'm not on the job. Oh, yeah. They don't see your face. You send some people that are scruffy and they don't get you. Mm-hmm. And that makes it difficult because it's, it does. How many people want to be a painter? No, there's not a whole lot of college. It's not that classes. They want to be a painter, it's that they defaulted to painting. Yeah. Because of whatever circumstance. But, for me, it's something that I started out doing when I was like 16. Had it the first Did it for about a year with another company here in town.
Mm.
And then tried a lot of other jobs outside of that. Always defaulted back to it because it was like kind of my main hustle.
Yeah.
And the more I knew on it, and I was doing better than everybody else.
Okay.
Just outperforming, outselling.
Mm-hmm.
Just never, always being just honest with that and just delivering the product.
Mm.
And then from there, it just every year I just, made a better brand or figured out ways to tweak it. But you have to have the time dedicated to step back.
Yeah.
And really assess what can I do better?
Right.
You know?
So we always broke it up into, what is it? Prep time, prime time, play time. Prep time, prime time, play time. Prep time, prime. It can't be all prep time, can't be all prime time, and it definitely can't all be play time.
Yeah.
You're talking about managing your life, setting it up like that. So there is preparation time for you. It's in the winter. In the winter, there is prime time, and that's in the summer. That's when you're working sun up to sundown.
Right.
And then there's play time that's mingled in there more in the winter and less in the summer, but it's still a part of your operating system.
Well, it's hard not to do it in the summer because that's when you don't take the boat out. That's when, 4th of July, all the good, the barbecues, everybody has that excuse, but it's the weekend, it's summer. And it's very difficult in those positions to say no.
Right.
Because I'd rather work 7 days straight that week, 30 days straight that month. And then, one day it's going to rain. You can't work. There's even a reason not to work. Then comes winter. Everybody else who had all those weekends off, was it like 120 hours or something like that in a week? That Saturday and Sunday is, if you can work another 10 hours each day, what is that, another 80 hours a week? 2 more weeks that I just worked out of somebody else in a month.
So that,
and then people like to say, must be nice to go take a vacation in the winter. Must be nice to have your weekend in the summer.
hey, let them know.
Yeah.
You put in your time.
Yeah.
Must be nice, but yeah. So then what else have let's talk about your philosophy in business and entrepreneurship. What are some of your core values? You mentioned them.
Yeah. I would just say, just doing, leading with honesty.
Honesty, integrity, keeping your word. If I'm going to be there at 10, I'm going to be there at 10.
Yeah, so that can be a hard one.
It is hard.
Especially when you got set up, you need other guys there. That'd be my probably biggest problem that I've had this last year is, managing a few guys and saying, hey, someone's going to be there at 9 o'clock. Expect someone's there, they're waiting to let you in their house, and I have to be there to make sure they're not there. And then at what point do I say, no, I'm not going to let you do it. And it's hard to find someone that's qualified to do the work and then be reliable too. So I would say that I that's something that I'm, setting back now that's being, winter.
So do you see yourself running the show by yourself from here out, or do you see this growing where you're adding?
Yeah, I think it all breaks down to systems.
Okay.
That's how every business develops is you got problems and you develop systems to solve those problems. And that's my fault right now is developing better systems. And you're always going to have that at any stage.
So are you saying that you don't have a system in place that you can plug and play a painter?
Right. So, and there's, maybe just come up with some sort of, there's sheets, checklists and stuff like that you have in place.
I see, systematic stuff.
Yeah. But, it's always trial and error. You're consistently trying new things. And what works with one person or one little pretty guy, it's not going to work with the other.
Right.
Because one person's might show up, they're always on time, but then, you have other little issues. And I think it's always just, as a business owner, we're just putting out little fires.
Yeah.
And it's just problem solving. And and it's a key component is decision making.
Okay.
Most people might spend a long time making a decision, but at the end of the day, a decision has to be made.
Right.
And whether it's right or wrong, you might get caught up on, is this the right answer? Should I go this way? Anybody even starting out doing anything, they're never ready. They never take that first step. That's where they always, be scared to fail.
Right.
They're scared to fail. I think I have a sense of, I don't care if I fail.
Now you do, right?
No,
Or is that how you always
I think that it's just so embedded in me. And then I've failed enough to know how not to fail. I have so many systems in place now that I can't fail. And I have that mindset, it's I can't fail. No matter what, I don't care if I got it and lose everything. The last asset I will hold on to is my van and my tools. And I can go move to another city. I've done it. Right. Start over.
Right. That's a powerful position to not be afraid to fail.
And it's difficult for people who start families early.
Right.
Because, that's where I keep my liabilities out of that,
Okay.
growth. 'Cause I don't want to say family's liability because people get a lot of joy and fulfillment out of that. But once you've developed that and you have a house, you have things you lose. You don't get a car you can't afford, and you got to make a payment. Well, you can lose those things. So people are always scared to take that's dangerous step to fail. So I try to minimize that. I try to minimize the expenses I have too. I think that's people get a check. They think that's how much money they have, and they go buy a new car, whatever. They spend it on stuff they can't afford, but they think they can because they never looked at a financial sheet. So the less expenses, the better. And
keep the overhead low.
Yeah.
How do you keep your overhead low?
I don't go put money on a $100,000 car or truck that and it's
flip one and then drive it.
You know what? I think that's probably what started it too, is I've always had cars I've paid with cash.
Okay.
And I have bought brand new cars off the lot. We talked about the Alfa Romero I had. You had a 5 months, bought off the showroom floor.
Brand new?
Brand new.
How much was it?
Like 65 out the door. Didn't buy the Gap. I think, that's the, and I ended up costing about 20 grand to buy that car for 5 months. So if that's not God or life teaching you a lesson of, you haven't earned it, and that's, there's some philosophy within myself that I've worked out, that I've had the nice things. They really don't give you the fulfillment you think they will.
Right.
How long are you going to enjoy it? It might be a reward you gave yourself, or are you going to enjoy it for 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years? How long is that going to last?
Right.
So now I just signed up to a 6-year payment and commitment. Am I going to feel fulfilled this next 6 years?
Right.
Well, 72 months. Each time I pay this, first time I ever bought a brand new truck, and I took a loan out for it. I hated the thing. I never got
the note on the truck. You hated the truck.
I'm paying $800 something a month for this, and I just every month.
That's called buyer remorse, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But man, everyone's like, "Man, I really love your truck." I was like, "Fucking take over the payments.
Take this thing. Take it off my hands."
Yeah, I'll just go get another van. Or put it somewhere else that it's gonna pay it forward, and whether it's even more ways to expand my education or business classes, which I don't take, but I just use the free content I can get on YouTube. And there's
Fly it.
Yeah.
You mentioned God, you mentioned faith a little bit. What role does that play in your entrepreneurship?
I wouldn't say that I'm like hugely religious by any means. I'd say I'm still coming to understanding with all that. It is
about purpose.
I'd say it's purpose driven. No matter what. There's so many religions out there. I mean, it's my entire back. Actually, it's like tattooed from all the way up. I don't know if you get that.
No.
It's actually all that.
Hold on. Show the camera.
Do I
flip that thing?
Go ahead.
You have to pay me some money, so
take my shirt off.
I can see this.
Okay.
It's all Anunnaki,
cool.
ancient Egyptian
Okay.
conspiracy.
So what is the deal with that?
You're in the Anunnaki?
No.
You don't know nothing about it.
No.
You hang out in church too much.
Could be. Could be. What is it?
It's mainly concepts and conspiracy, I would say, of how aliens kind of come into be with procreating or in planting and expanding our species.
Okay.
So
what is it? A movie? Is it a
no? It's
philosophy?
No, it is a real kind of thing that a lot of people. And it's I don't believe in it like all my heart or nothing.
Okay.
But I just like the idea and the concept.
Okay.
So if I've read some books like Planet X, and there's conspiracy about other planets kind of being on the solar system.
Okay.
Kind of some nerdy stuff to get into.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll jump right off of that so we don't get into the weeds with that one. But give us some of the life lessons that you've learned early on in business that maybe somebody listening could benefit from as they embark on starting the company.
I would say try to learn from other people's failures.
Yeah.
So I don't say that's one thing that I've always paid attention to.
Who have you learned from?
Just people going through life. I always, everything's, if you're able to talk to people and ask the right questions, everybody wants to talk.
Right.
People are more willing to give you information, and especially anybody who's a leader or already already succeeded. Now, unless you're going to work for them,
right?
They don't want to let you in all the trade secrets,
right?
They don't want you to work for yourself either,
right?
But yeah, I just processed just talking to people throughout my life.
In terms of who has taught you, who have you watched, who have you, or just everybody?
I think just being very observant.
Yeah, of being aware.
Yeah, and it's that sense of being aware to your surroundings and everybody around you, and just watching what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
But regardless, you're going to have ideas, and you're probably going to fail 100 times. It's that, or 99, that 100th time that's maybe when you strike it. But being an entrepreneur, 95% of it is failure. 5% of it, and that's when people see the success. But most people aren't willing to take that 95.
They're not even aware that of that other 95%.
Yeah.
They only see the 5% of what you said,
Yeah.
the iceberg effect. They only see what's above the ground there.
And look how many businesses start out and they get maybe 10% in,
Right.
and they fail.
Right.
And they're tired of failure. And they're like, this isn't what I thought it would be. Not even to start anything because they're so caught on, they know they failed. They couldn't do it.
Right.
So even though you have some big idea, don't let somebody else's small-minded concepts just drive you down.
Right.
And take you off your purpose. And that's one thing with anybody who's very confused on what they want to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
I ask everybody when they're uncertain what they want to be. They're in that transition
They
stage.
launch people in that.
And I just say one question: what's your purpose?
Right.
What are you passionate about? If you do anything and not cost you, money wasn't a concept, what would you do? Well, most people don't even know how to answer that.
Right.
So there's nothing you're interested in. You're 25, 30, 40, 50
Right.
years old.
Right.
Nothing sparks.
So what would that be for you?
Delivering value?
In what in various form, any form?
You know, I'm the person that I was at a customer of ours. We were at, both of us here this last time.
Yeah. Okay.
But I stopped at her house to pick up a check yesterday, and it's just her plumbing was all bad underneath the sink, leaking everywhere. She was literally kind of break it down, fixed it.
Just like we're not a tech guy for
I'm not saying. Well, we couldn't figure it out. I'll figure it out as soon as the podcast is over. At the end of the day, it's just a little bit of just looking at it. You know, it fixed her. Now she doesn't call a plumber. Her day's made. Whether a friend might have cars, whatever it is, somebody's having a problem.
Right.
Most people put it off, say, "Oh, you want to get a mechanic later." Like, pop the hood, I'll figure this out.
Right.
You don't need anything in return, but you're adding value. You know, if your knowledge or what you know, you consistently add value. Hopefully, that's making some sort of impact.
Absolutely. That's really good, actually. And a lot of us, we can't give out of what we don't have. It's like what you are, or out of fulfillment. We're just looking for an opportunity to add value to somebody. It don't matter if we're in the grocery store, at the gas station, or wherever. I'm just looking to add value to somebody's life.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, gas station. One of my main things I do selfishly is that's usually the first person I see throughout the day. Is, you know, going and do my energy drink in the morning at the gas station.
Without a drink, are we talking?
Yeah, I like the bangs.
Are you banging them out?
Yeah, it's 300 milligrams. Let's take 2 of them. Let's get stay going.
Let's go.
Game on. But I try to, anybody who I interact with first thing in the morning, I try to make a positive impact.
Right.
Because it's the beginning of the day. And if I can make their day better from that point forward, how many other people is that person going to talk to? So hopefully that just carries. And I think that we have a lack of that in the world. Everyone's kind of got a negative mindset and a way of thinking. And here's the deal: I'm not happy all the time.
Right.
But that's how I start my day. If I can do that one thing.
When did you learn that in life? Because you're only 28 years old.
Yeah.
You're mature.
I've done that. I've done that since I was 13.
It's been a part of your.
Yeah. But I mean, I was 13 going on 50. So.
Right. What do you attribute that to? Did you have to be in a position?
I think just growing up, just being.
Did you have a rough upbringing? In any
I wouldn't say it's rough, because outside looking in, you're like, I'm grateful for it.
Right.
I'm like, I took care of myself pretty early on.
But I mean, most kids at 13 are playing basketball and hitting baseballs and, you know, just playing tag. You're figuring things out.
How's it going to find a house and pay rent? How's it going to, I won't get too much into it, but how am I going to hustle a certain amount of money to even get food?
So what were you hustling at 13?
Yeah, no, it's, it didn't matter kind of what it was. I mean, even tools, I've always kind of had the mindset of driving down the street and looking at things. You see windows, you see buildings. Most people just see grass.
Right.
It's just my mindset goes to, somebody's making money cutting that grass. Somebody's making money putting in those windows. How do I access that?
Right.
And it's, do you let it consume you? But it's consistently asking questions.
Seeing opportunities
and creating them.
Yeah, creating them, seeing them, then creating opportunities and solving problems.
Mm-hmm. And if you can solve other people's problems, they'll pay you for it.
Right.
Surprising.
So how would you settle on painting then? Because from what I'm hearing,
who said I settled?
That's my next question.
Painting to me has just been the skill that I learned very quick.
Right, easy to you?
Yeah, it's I can expand on it. So, from there it's kind of house flipping and stuff that we're, kind of trying to get into. And that's kind of the next steps. And just kind of just growing a real estate portfolio from that.
Okay.
So just I don't want to be in pain in the next 10 years,
Right.
unless I'm kind of more on the commercial side of it, but I want to be managing guys. At some point, that purpose, I have to grow outside of that. If you're not growing, what are you doing?
You're either green or growing or right on rotten.
You're just falling back. So
Right.
even if I stay stagnant, it's like a shark in the water, it's
Right.
going to drop. So, and with following purpose or chasing things, you need to always be taken to the next level,
Right.
right?
You need that other bigger fish in the water that's chasing you.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of like even large CEOs, that sell their companies. You think, who could be more happy than this guy who just made $1 billion exit?
Right.
Those are the most miserable guys ever.
Right.
They just sold their purpose. They sold the thing that they spent the last 30, 50 years building. What do you do? You're lost.
Right.
What are you now going to go start ground zero? So you always have to have a sense of purpose. And I think that's the hardest thing for most people to even find. Yeah. And maybe it's how do we even access that fundamentally? They're almost trapped in a regular job, 9 to 5, or they taking the little steps and then suppress themselves to even a weekend
Right.
that they're not willing to sacrifice. I mean, how many hours do you have after work to put in them a purpose or passion or the weekend?
Right.
So that you're chasing away probably parts on the inside of yourself that are unresolved.
Hmm.
And I think maybe that's a key factor too, is unresolved things with yourself, not knowing yourself well enough.
Right.
Lack of trust with yourself,
Huh.
insecurities that just maybe I can't do this.
Right.
Sure, that guy could, but not me.
It's deep.
I can get deep. But I can't look at the camera though. Photos.
We're just letting the camera in on a
Yeah.
conversation we're having. We would have these every time that we would interface on a job site.
Right.
So it was like, let's just get together and get it on camera because there may be somebody out there somewhere that could benefit from this.
Yeah, and I think that's where even in a sense like this, maybe a little sense of vulnerability.
Sure.
I think even with other podcasts that I've watched, if it can change one person's
It'd be worth it.
perspective, why not?
Right.
If it got them out of their situation or way of thinking, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I said this earlier while you're here, but you might only get one thing or retain one thing out of the conversation,
Right.
as if you read a whole book.
Right.
If you read a whole book, if you can get one thing out of that's insightful, carry that with you the rest of your life.
Right.
That is worth reading, right?
Right.
Especially if it can add to one of your core values of life.
You're going deep.
Am I?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's actually really good. I mean, you're 28 years old.
Yeah. I'll spit some game on some fools.
Let them know you're here. Let all the naysayers know. Yeah, but that's awesome. So what would you recommend for somebody who maybe they're thinking about starting a business? I mean, it wasn't all roses for you. You had to go through some.
I will tell you, it was, I never had any connections. I never had anybody around me who I've seen make it. Who,
Mentor or coach?
nothing, for years.
How about your parents?
Non-existent. It's
What do you
just-
mean by that?
They just weren't around. I don't dive into it too deep.
Okay.
Like I said, I've kind of been around, so it's pretty much right at the beginning of being a teenager. But I'm grateful for it.
Right.
Not to say they're bad people by any means. Just didn't need them. I was a rebel, I guess, in a sense.
Huh.
And not in the sense of like being a bad kid or anything like that.
Right.
I just always feel like I had a conception that I had a better understanding of how the world worked than most people around me.
Okay.
And sometimes it can be a negative thing
Okay.
because it's hard to find like-minded people
Yeah.
to surround yourself with. So a lot of the times I end up in isolation to do my growth. That
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of guys kind of here, the sales guys and stuff, that they think the same way.
Right.
But most of the time, even as young as like 13, 14, early teenage years, I connect more with, older people that have more wisdom. And I think in today's world, we're all seeking knowledge, but we really need is wisdom.
Right.
And it takes a lot of life experience for that.
Right.
We're kind of lacking it as well with all the content we consume.
Right.
And you got to, make sure you're on the right trajectories with that content.
To be the right content.
Yeah. You're staying off the rap videos, and this little Beethoven ain't gonna kill you.
Interested in the life of an entrepreneur. So in summary, it's going to be hard. You're thinking about being an entrepreneur. It's going to be hard. People are going to misunderstand you as this, or this.
You're always gonna be a little different.
Little.
Yeah. Your ideas aren't gonna make sense to the next person, majority of anybody.
Right.
And I think that I've had a downfall in trying to even express my ideas to people around me.
Right.
And it just doesn't click. It doesn't make sense to them. And eventually you got to lose that crowd. It's a lonely path
Right.
because you might grow up with people that you're really attached to. They are your friends. That's who you are. But if you're really thinking differently like that, you need to seek a new crowd, an audience. And there's a window in between there that is very empty because you have to lose that crowd, become the person that you need to be to even entertain that new crowd. Because the guy who's starting his business isn't going to do business with guys like you and I who are actively
Right.
busy on a daily basis.
Right.
You're not going to entertain that.
Right.
So that leap is what's difficult and what takes a long time. Some people can do it overnight. Highly unlikely, but that takes a lot of failure to get there. So,
Right. Where do you see your life, your business, your growth scaling next 10, 20? Any family, kids, any desire for that? Relationships?
I think selfishly this year is for me.
Okay.
I'll say that. You know what?
A year at a time.
I used to write down a lot of 5, 10-year goals.
Okay.
They changed 3 months later.
Based on what?
Yeah, just things change.
Okay.
You know, as you're going through life, you're consistently maybe writing down goals. I think that my goals mainly, you know, that they're more of not necessarily where I want to be, but the direction.
And it's who you want to become.
Right. Because you're going to consistently change throughout that. You know, you're going to meet new people. You know, some people can do you wrong and you become a little bit more sour for it, you know, but some people will do you right. And, you know, you weave through that. And, you know, especially while you're young, you're developing yourself, you're developing your character. And I don't know, I'd like to say I'm 28, still kind of old for me, but, you know, it's compared to like somebody that's 21 trying to start out. And I think I give a lot of guys that are that age, I push them to do it, but they do have that sense of fear. So for me going forward, I really don't try to think outside of a year. I think it's about 3 months is my focus.
Yep.
And I have 3 large goals I want to get at the end of the year. Like I have kind of want to get an apartment complex by the end of the year. I'm expecting the C9 to get debuted out, the new Corvette eventually this year. So I want the cash set aside for that.
Okay. What is that?
The Corvette.
Okay.
Corvette, at least.
New one?
Yeah, new one.
6?
No, it's
Is this a flipped one?
no. So they have the generations of the Corvettes. You get this like C8, the new one. It's got the mid-engine 2020, but like now. So it's the next generation. Yeah, that's hopefully. But that's, you know, it's not necessarily something that it might change. But, you know, when that 2020 Corvette came out, it was like the coolest thing ever. I'm like, man, I really wish I had $60,000 to go put down on that thing. And then, you know, everybody get those first ones and they were selling for $100,000. So there's $40,000 right there easily made. Delivery. And the other ones, I need my 6-pack back.
Oh,
so you saw I was in that motorcycle accident.
I did.
Last year.
Well, that was the first time I met you, was when you came in here with your arm all.
Yeah, I was a little mangled.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, probably should have died on that one, but I think we're good on motorcycles for a bit.
So did you get rid of that one?
It's tucked in the garage.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3,000 miles on it. And it's a good little trophy to sit in the corner and stare at.
She skidded up and got some scratch.
She a little skidded up. Yeah, I haven't touched it and since. Yeah, I've just kind of pushed it around the garage.
Okay.
And other little things I got over there in and out, and it stays in the corner.
Well, I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time. You have a lot of depth to you. For 28 years old, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
You're mature in your approach to life. You're mature in your understanding of life. So I just really thank you for taking the time to, you know, to share your experience with the audience and with me personally. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate you.